Can y'all really feel me? Feel us. East Coast, feel us. West Coast, feel me. Say what? Dirty South. Here we go. Can y'all really feel me? Baby girl.
Hello, people. Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe. My little braid wants to do its own thing. Welcome to my channel. And today, I didn't really have the plan to make this video today, but I want to talk about trauma. Because I feel like there's so much of our lives attached to trauma that can prevent us from doing all the things that we really want to do in life. I like to give an analogy. I'm not very good at analogies, but today you about to get one, baby. So my analogy is this. Let's say I used to love going to the beach as a kid. I hate the beach now because I don't like sand, but I used to love going to the beach. Let's say you go to the beach. And one game we used to like to play at the beach was I would go to the water and get maybe like just below my knee. I would get into the water, and we would shout out, "Expect the unexpected!" And we'd turn our backs to the water, and then let's say this is me, and so my back's here, and the water's coming this way. So I didn't know, if a big wave was coming, if a small wave was coming. I just was waiting. Was it going to be a big wave? I don't know why we do this as children. It sounds terrifying now that I think about it. But as kids, we were like, oh, it's going to be the bad. And so I remember this huge wave comes, and I didn't know. And all I heard was my brother. I guess he had turned around before we knew, because we were both standing there waiting, bracing ourselves. And I heard my brother gasp, and I was like, oh. So I looked behind me, and this wave was literally like 4 times bigger than I was. Remember, I'm like 8. And so it comes, and maybe not 4 times, but at the time it looked 4 times bigger. And so this wave comes crashing down and literally tosses me under the water. So I'm under the water, I'm like flobbling around. I'm like trying to hold my breath. I've swallowed the salt water, and I come up, gasping for air. I come up, and I'm like 30 feet away from where I started. And, at that moment, as soon as I come up, water is still in my eyes. I'm shaking because I'm a little like, oh my gosh, what just happened? My knees are buckling. And it's like a lot of times we go through traumatic experiences that we didn't expect. Like that. You have this huge wave that comes and hits you, and you get, tossed in life, and you're going all these different ways, and you come up, and our initial response as survivors is to go forward and just act like nothing happened. I have to keep doing what I gotta do. So, I tried to start walking towards the shore, but my body wasn't ready yet because it hadn't processed what had just happened. So I started walking, but I started walking sideways. I was, whoo. So I just stopped for a second. I said, okay, let me catch my breath. Let me assess to see if I'm cut anywhere, if I got anything going on. Let me make sure I can walk cool. And then let me start going back to shore. So when it comes to survivors, we've learned to keep pushing forward. So we would get up, and this is what I've done in the past. We would get up, running towards the shore. We got cut legs. We're running, and we're running to the side, and we're not really being as efficient as we could be because we haven't dealt with the fact that we've just gone through something. And that's, as a survivor, we do that. We survive and keep surviving. You go through a traumatic experience, and then anything difficult that comes after, you just get through it. You get through it. You get through it. But my question to you guys is, are you dealing with it? Are you working through it? Because it's working through it and dealing with it that's going to allow us to unlearn certain mental blocks and things like that have caused us to, create these habits in our adult lives and in our millennialhood. So for me, I'm going to be completely honest in this video. This is my own personal opinion, so please don't come for me. It's just my opinion. But how many of you have ever been through a traumatic experience in your life? I'm raising my hand. I've been through something super traumatic. For me, my mother, she passed away when I was 14. Before that, we were living in motels. She was a single mom, never worked, was on welfare, but passed away of cancer. And before that, I had gotten molested as a child and things like that. So I had a lot of different things going on with me when I was young that really, although I, obviously grew up, I didn't think that they would affect me. Well, the other morning I was thinking, there are certain things that I've allowed to come into my life because of those things that happened before. So whatever the trauma is, and you don't have to share it here on YouTube. I'm pretty transparent. I've written a book about it already, so I've already dealt with a lot of it. But that trauma has so much power if not dealt with. What I was thinking about was this. Imagine that you had something that you went through, and anyone who's gone through something, at some point you get to the place where you have to either, it's like a fight or flight thing, like you either have to push through it and survive it and just get through it, or you completely give up. If you're watching this video, you obviously didn't give up, and I commend you for that, because life is hard. And when you go through something traumatic, be it someone divorce or whatever, it can be hard to feel like the future is bright or anything like that. So this is hard to talk about, y'all. As someone who has gone through trauma, if I start to cry, please forgive me. But as someone who's gone through trauma, one thing I've learned and I've seen even recently is that I'm just going to refer to we as people who've gone through trauma. We tend to let things slide because we need to get through things. So for me, when my mom passed, I didn't have time to sit and grieve about it. I had to start working at 14. I had to kind of get out there and do my thing. And in my adult life, I see that happening now, but in different ways. So, my bad if my computer moved. A prime example is, let's say you get into a relationship and you find yourself dealing with stuff that instead of just like ending it because it's traumatic, you are like, now I've learned to deal with trauma. I can do this. I can deal with it. And so you deal with things because you can. Because you've been taught to, because you've had to learn to survive. Survival mode will make us deal with stuff that we don't have to deal with. So instead of saying, you know what, this relationship doesn't make me feel good, we would say, oh, I can survive it. I've got this. I've gone through worse. So our trauma has a mind of its own if we do not combat it. So I would encourage you, my bad, y'all. I would encourage you to think about that. Like, what has your trauma, what kind of things has your trauma and things that have happened in your past, what kind of things have they allowed you to allow in your life, I was reading an article that was talking about, kind of like Stockholm syndrome, where, a person is abused and they fall in love with their abuser. When we go through a traumatic experience, a lot of times, and I'm not just saying just abuse, but in general, a lot of times when we go through a traumatic experience, we find that we're stronger than we think we are, right? Because you kind of get through and you're like, oh my gosh, it didn't seem like, it didn't seem very hard when I was going through it, but then you look back later and you're like, oh crap, like, wow, I really got through this, right? And so for you and me, friend, my family right here, I really encourage you to look at some of the things that might be causing your decisions. I know for a while I was making decisions based on not wanting to struggle. I grew up super poor. I grew up in Skid Row, which is a very poverty-stricken place in LA. And we didn't have money. Like, my mom never taught me about financial management and stuff like that, so that's something that I struggle with in adulthood now. I've gotten better, obviously, because I've been intentional about getting better about it, but I really didn't think to get better about it before. Um, but my whole purpose in saying that was to say that, like, for me, I had to realize that because we had often, uh, when we got something, let's say my mother, she would get money on the first of the month. She was on welfare, so she would get money on the first of the month, and we knew, okay, she's got money. Let's go spend all this money to get all the food that we need because we don't know when if she's gonna get, when we're gonna get money again. And I took that mentality into my adult life where it prevented me from saving money because I was always thinking, let me buy more now just in case there's a quote unquote drought or famine or we don't have something. And so I'm looking at my life and noticing little things like that. So for you guys, it's just a quick video, but I wanted to share that. Like, our traumas really do have power over us if we let them. As a survivor, as someone who has survived, you and I are badasses. Like, we did it. We made it. We're good. But we now, after you go through something, you're going to have to deal with all the mental things that took place. So anyway, I just encourage you guys to take a look at that. Really think about it. I know for me today, I was really thinking about it and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. But our trauma does not have to dictate how we live our lives. It is a great tool for us to I mean, no, and I don't wish trauma on anybody. But if you've gone through it, then I know that it's allowed us to become stronger. So it's a tool to make us strong. But it isn't necessarily a tool to make us the most efficient beings or the most productive or the most, whatever. Because it can strip us of things as well. So if you're going through something right now, if you have gone through something, try to take a look at that and make sure that you're A-okay. Because for me, I looked at it and I was thinking, oh my gosh, there are still certain things that I'm doing because of a trauma that I experienced years ago. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I hope that you guys resonated with this, and I would love to see your comments below about this particular topic. I find it to be super interesting. So comment below. Let me know, not so much your trauma, you don't need to share, but, if you found this to be true or what you guys think about it and how you think people should go about unlearning some things about their traumas and the things about their surviving. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.